Today we're going to talk about one of the most underrated pistols, and everybody agrees that it is probably the worst named pistol ever. And so if you've been around the last few years, you know what gun I'm talking about. The PDP F-series. Let's talk about it. So the PDP F-series, what is it? Well, Walther came out with the Walther PDP several years ago, and then they decided to come out with this pistol right here, which is the PDP F, and the F stands for female. So that's everybody's complaint, is that Walther had a terrible marketing strategy behind it by calling it the female, because the males were a little bit uneasy about buying it. They didn't want to buy a female pistol. So I know that everybody hates on the name, but I have to respect it somewhat. I think that they were taking a moral stance on gender when they named this pistol. It's the only gendered gun, and so by naming it the female from the factory, they said this pistol is the PDP female. No matter what you do to it, you cannot change it. You can change the way it looks, you can change the parts on it, but it'll always be a female. But this gun was designed for females and people with weaker motor skills. It was designed for them. So what's different between this one and the regular PDP is the back strap right here. This part where it curves in, that to the trigger is a shorter distance than the standard PDP. About the only other thing from that is the slide is easier to rack than the standard PDP. Now I know that a lot of people say there's not a difference, they can't feel a difference. I've heard that from many people, but right off the bat I can feel the difference in the amount of force that it takes to rack the slide. My girlfriend, for instance, got little bitty baby hands, and she cannot rack the full-size PDP without looking pretty goofy. You know, she's really, trying different ways, and she really struggles with it. She picked up the F-series and immediately was able to rack it back without any problem. So that is probably the biggest difference that's appealing to most people, or would be appealing to most people, is the slide is easier to rack than the standard PDP. So for the females, or if you're a male and you've got a little bit weaker hands or arthritis or something like that, this pistol is going to be a lot easier for you to rack as opposed to the standard PDP or any other striker fired pistol on the market. About the only thing to compare this to would be the Smith & Wesson, the M&P EZ, which I'll go right on ahead and say I hate that pistol. I absolutely despise it. I've never had good experiences with it. Buddy brought one out here and immediately I hated that gun. So this is a much better option over the M&P EZ. So I do carry this gun occasionally in this configuration. So this is completely stock Walther PDP-F, but it has the Viridian RFX 44, which is it's a smaller closed emitter optic. What's really cool about this particular optic, I won't go too far into it, this ain't an optic review, but what they done is they took the battery housing and everything and they put that on top of the optic as opposed to on the bottom. So what that allows is for the window to actually sit flush with the slide. See if you can see that. So you can actually co-witness your iron sights. You can co-witness standard iron sights through this window, so you don't have to have suppressor sights. It's a really cool optic, really cool engineering and idea behind it, and so far it's been holding up great, and I think it makes for a nice little package on this pistol. So why do I, as a man, well, some might argue that, why do I as a male carry this when there's other options? Well, I don't carry this all the time. I always carry a PDP of some sort. I've got quite a few of them. But what would be the benefits of carrying this PDP-F? Even if you don't have, any problems with your hands, you don't have any strength issues in your hands. Well, with it being smaller, when I go to shoot this pistol one-handed, I feel like I've got a little bit better control on it as opposed to the standard PDP. With that smaller grip, I feel like I can really just choke the gun to death, basically. I mean, I can really squeeze it. I can get my hand almost all the way around it Also, with it being easier to rack the slide, you never know what would happen in a self-defense situation. You might have, even if it's just a little bit of blood on your hands or anything like that, you know, that can really affect the amount of pressure you're able to put forth on the slide. Now, the PDP does have the ginormous slide serrations, which is one thing that I absolutely love about them. Is as soon as you pick it up and you grab a hold of the slide where the serrations are, immediately they dig into your hands, but it's not so aggressive that it feels like it's going to cut you. They really, if they didn't nail anything else, they absolutely nailed the slide serrations on the PDP series. But even if you've got to go to one hand self-defense situation and one hand goes down, or you're occupied, you're trying to hold something or carry somebody or something, and you have to manipulate the gun one-handed, with that slide being easier to manipulate, it is easier than other pistols. So if you say you've just got your left hand, you know, that slide is a lot easier to manipulate off of different things than a standard pistol. Now, I'm not saying that's crucial and that's a selling point, but that is something to consider, and that's one thought that I have behind the PDP-F, is just because I don't have any issues in my hands or my strength, I don't know what situation I would end up in, say in a self-defense situation where that would become an issue, and I would benefit by having a slide that's easier to rack. So you might ask, well, what's the same on this PDP-F as the standard PDP? And basically everything is the same except for the measurements from the back strap right here to the trigger and the slide and how the slide operates. That's a different system. You can't interchange the slides on these. But I do believe that about everything else is interchangeable. I will say that because I don't know exactly how the slide works as far as them making it easier to rack, but I have noticed that the slide does have to come back further, say if you're dry firing, which is something that you should be doing no matter what pistol you carry, always dry fire. But I've noticed that I have to pull the slide back further to get the trigger to engage, whereas on my other ones, I mean, just the slightest bit of movement, the trigger resets, whereas on this one, it's right there. So that's not a huge issue, that's just something to note. It doesn't affect a thing, especially when you're shooting it, but it is something to note that the internals of it do operate a little bit different than the standard PDP. So as I stated, I have quite a few PDPs. This is not all that Walther offers. This is not the complete lineup of PDPs, but this is a good enough variety that you should be able to get a decent understanding of how the PDP-F compares in size to the rest of them. So what we have here is the full size 4.5 inch. We have the compact Pro SD, and then a standard compact. So again, a big thing to note is that the measurements from the back strap right here to the trigger is going to be shorter than the rest of them. So there's a good size difference between the F-series and the full size. This is the full size frame with the 4.5 inch slide. So there's a massive difference between these two. And then even once you go to the Pro SD, this is just a little bit bigger gun with the mag well and the threaded barrel. And then, you know, these are going to be the closest to in comparison. This is the standard compact, and then this is the PDP F-series. So these take the same size magazine, it's the same size slide, and pretty much everything on these two are identical except for the measurements back here between the back strap and the trigger. So these are the two guns that I primarily carry. There's benefits to both of them. This one I have an easier time getting both hands on the standard compact, but if I do have to shoot it one-handed, the PDP F-series does take the cake for being the easiest to shoot one-handed. Because of that smaller grip, I can really, you know, get my hand all the way around it. Now, for whatever reason, it seems like people kind of ignore this pistol when they're looking at anything other than a concealed carry pistol. Now, this makes a fantastic concealed carry pistol, but it's not limited to that. So anything that you would put, any pistol comparable to, say, a Glock 19, this pistol and a Glock 19 are very similar in size. So anything that you would put that size pistol in, any situation that you'd use that for, you can absolutely use the F-series PDP in, and it'll have no problems at all. You can keep it pretty stock like I've got here with just a red dot and you know, a smaller holster, and that makes for a really lightweight, easy to conceal setup. Or you can go ahead and add some accessories to it and deck it out a little bit for some duty use, or a little bit heavier duty carry pistol. So we'll go ahead and throw some accessories on it and show you what that looks like. So now, threw a Surefire X300 on it, and through the 18 round magazine from the PDP Pro SD compact. So now you've got a compact pistol, got a closed emitter red dot, got a Surefire X300 light, and I've got an 18 round magazine. There's nobody that can argue against the value that this pistol holds, especially in this configuration. So you can run this as a duty pistol, absolutely, there'll be no problems with it. Or maybe you just want a little bit heavier duty carry setup. So no matter how you want to run this pistol, you want to run it you know, a little bit decked out, more as a duty pistol or a heavier duty concealed carry, or you want to keep it lightweight, you know, you can do the flush fit magazine. Take the light off, and you know, you can keep it running compact, or you can run it both. You can run it this way, and then once you want to throw it, say you want to go shoot a competition with it or whatnot, you get home, take it out of your holster, and you want to have a good home defense pistol, well then you drop the flush fit magazine, throw in the 18 round, and throw the light back on it, and you've got a do-it-all pistol right here in the PDP F-series. So now that we've talked about it a little bit, let's get to shooting some. Alright, so we're going to pay homage to every shooter's best friend, Bill. We're going to run a simple bill drill, and I'll have it on the shot timer, and well, y'all will see the results. Alright, so we're just running a simple bill drill on the shot timer. I've got it set up in about the slickest configuration I can, minus the red dot, but we'll run it this way for a little bit, and then I'll throw the X300 on it and the 18 round magazine, and we'll see what that does also. So again, just a simple bill drill. We're right here at about 5 yards, and I'll show the time. Almost forgot to put my ear probe on. Alright, that was nothing fast at all. That was a 3-1-2, if it'll focus. Again, just really easy, slow, controlled. We'll run it a little bit faster now. Alright, we'll run it a little bit faster this time. Threw the Surefire on it, got the 18 round magazine, got a target set out there at 50. It's a steel target, so hopefully if I can get some hits on it, you'll be able to hear the impacts. And they've got 7 or 8 rounds in here, so we'll see how many it takes to get on at 50. Whew. There we go. Alright, failed my hold, so I'm going to throw in a few more, and we'll ring it a little bit longer. Keep in mind, I am not the best shooter in the world, so if I don't get any hits, it is no reflection of the pistol, simply just a reflection of me. So judge me, not the gun. All right, 2 out of 4, not terrible. Hit them first 2, got excited, and pulled the other 2. But anyways, the PDP F-series is a fantastic pistol. Don't let the name scare you. I promise it doesn't take anything away from the gun whatsoever. So if you're in the market for a new pistol, definitely consider the PDP F. It's fantastic, and I love it.